Hello dear students, welcome back again to Chapter 7. In this part, we'll talk about the genetics of a blood group. At the end of this video, you will be able to list the 4 blood groups, indicate the alleles responsible for the 4 blood groups, and indicate the genotypes that determine each blood group. Let's recall the constituents of a blood. When the blood is exposed to centrifugation, we get 3 phases: plasma, which is the liquid of the blood, platelets and leukocytes, and at the bottom we find the red blood cells. These red blood cells determine the blood group or the blood types. Blood types are inherited genetic traits like eye color, hair color, and so on. Our blood group is determined by the presence or absence of certain molecules called antigens on the surface of the red blood cells. The ABO blood type is controlled by a gene found on chromosome number 9. Back to grade 8. Blood group A is determined by the antigen A found on the surface of red blood cells. In the plasma, anti-B antibodies are found. Antigens B determine blood group B, and anti-A antibodies are found in the plasma. For blood group AB, antigens A and B are found on the surface of the red blood cells, and in the plasma there are neither anti-A nor anti-B antibodies in order to avoid blood agglutination. For blood group O, there are no antigens on the surface of the red blood cells, and in the plasma, anti-A and anti-B antibodies are found. Now what about the genetics of a blood type? This is a chromosome number 9 where it holds the gene of blood group. This gene has 3 versions or alleles. Allele A is responsible for the production of antigen A. Allele B is responsible for the production of antigen B. Allele O does not produce any antigen. This is the ABO gene. Each individual carries 2 alleles of this gene. We can get 6 different combinations of the alleles of blood group. They can be AA, AO, BB, BO, AB, and OO. The allele A produces antigen A, and O doesn't produce any antigen. So, to get antigen A, we may have these combinations, AA or AO. Allele B produces antigen B, and O doesn't produce any antigen. So, to get antigen B on the surface of the red blood cells, we may have the alleles BB or BO. Allele A produces antigen A, and allele B produces antigen B. To get antigens A and B together, we must have the alleles A and B. Allele O doesn't produce any antigen, so alleles O and O together produce no antigens on the surface of the red blood cell, and hence the blood group is O. Let's analyze the genotypes of blood group. We have 4 blood types: A, B, AB, and O. To get blood type A, we may carry alleles AA or AO. To get blood type B, we may carry alleles BB or BO. For blood type AB, we must carry alleles A and B. For blood type O, we must carry alleles O and O. Now, what is the relation between these alleles? A and O produce antigen A, so A appears in the phenotype. Then, A is dominant over O. Alleles B and O produce antigen B, so B appears in the phenotype. Then, B is dominant over O. Alleles O and O produce blood type O. Then, allele O appears in the phenotype in the homozygous state. Then allele O is recessive. Alleles A and B produce blood type AB. Then A and B are expressed in the phenotype. So A and B are codominant alleles. Therefore, the genotypes of blood type A is either AA or AO. For blood type B, it is either BB or BO. For type AB, the genotype is AB. For type O, the genotype is OO. Although allele O is recessive, it is symbolized by an uppercase letter or capital O. Let's move to the applications. Fill in the following chart. Write the genotypes of blood types. For type A, it is either AA or AO. For type B, it is either BB or BO, since the dominant allele expresses itself in the homozygote and heterozygote states. For type AB, the genotype is AB, since the codominant alleles are equally expressed. For type O, the genotype is OO, since the recessive allele expresses itself in the homozygote state only. Application number 2. A man who is heterozygote for B blood is married to a woman with type O blood. What blood type or types will their children have? So the man has a blood type B and the woman has a blood type O. The genotype or the alleles for blood group gene for the man is BO, since he is heterozygote carrying different alleles. And the genotype of the woman is OO, since the recessive allele expresses itself in the homozygote state only. Now let's do the factorial analysis. The genotypes of the parents are BO for the man and OO for the woman. The gametes of the parents are: half of the male gametes carry the B allele and the other half carry the O allele. All the female gametes carry the O allele. The proportion of the gametes are half for each male gamete and 1 for the female gametes. Now we draw the Punnett square and we move all this data to it. The symbols of male and female, the male gametes and the female gametes with their corresponding proportions. When fertilizing male and female gametes, we may get BO and OO. Each one of them constitutes half. Now we draw the T chart. The genotypes of F2 are BO and OO. Now the phenotypes are B and it forms half and O which forms half. So 50% or half of their children may carry blood group B and 50% may carry blood group O. Application number 3. Can a couple where the mother of blood group O and the father of blood group AB have a baby of blood group O? Justify. The mother is of blood group O, the father is of blood group AB, the son under study is of blood type O. Let's see the genotypes of each. The mother's genotype is OO, since the recessive allele expresses itself in the homozygote state only. The father's genotype is AB. Codominant alleles are equally expressed. The genotype of the child is OO. This child must have inherited the O allele from his mother. But what about the second allele O? It is impossible to get it from the father since he does not carry this allele. Therefore, this couple will not have a baby of blood group O. Application number 4. After Beirut port explosion, many people headed towards the hospitals to look for their relatives. A father of a blood type AB and a mother of a blood type O claimed that a victim of a blood group B is their son. Could these be the parents of the victim? So the father has a blood type AB, the mother has a blood type O, and the victim has a blood type B. Here we must do the factorial analysis to discover whether the victim is their son or not. The genotypes of the parents are AB for the father and OO for the mother. The gametes of the parents are: half of the male gametes carry the A allele and the other half carry the B allele. All the female gametes carry the O allele. We draw the Punnett square and we move all this data to it. When fertilizing the male and female gametes, we get AO and BO. Let's analyze these data. Genotypes of F2 are AO and BO. The phenotypes of the F2 are A and B. Then these parents can have a child of blood group B. Then they can be the parents of the victim. To sum up, the blood group is determined by a gene found on chromosome number 9. ABO gene has 3 alleles, A, B, and O. Each individual carries 2 alleles of this gene. Alleles A and B are codominant with respect to each other, and they are dominant over allele O. The genotypes of blood group A can be AA or AO. The genotypes of blood type B can be BB or BO, since the dominant allele expresses itself in the homozygote and heterozygote states. The genotype of blood type AB is only AB, since the codominant alleles are equally expressed in the phenotype. The genotype of blood type O is only OO, since the recessive allele expresses itself in the homozygote state only. And finally comes the assignment. Memorize the summing up, solve the applications again, and solve this exercise. A woman of blood type A is not sure if she is homozygous or heterozygous. Her husband is completely unsure of his blood type. Their children have the following blood types: A, B, O, and AB. What are the genotypes of the parents? Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.